bad game last week, or is there a deeper concern? That is a deep, deep, deep concern now.
Few moments later.
James Franklin can't win big or small games anymore. Penn State just got cooked at home again. If there's one thing you can count on in life, it's death, taxes, and James Franklin getting outcoached in a big game, and apparently even small games now, because somehow, some way, Penn State just got beat down at home by Northwestern. At home, bro. Beaver Stadium, 100,000 screaming fans, whiteout crowd, fireworks in the sky, and Franklin still finds a way to turn it into a funeral march. You'd think after a decade at Penn State, the man would at least figure out how to outsmart Northwestern. But nope.
Every time Penn State takes on a top 10 team, they spit up mom's spaghetti. James Franklin's been at Penn State for over a decade now, and for all the facilities, the NIL money, and self-indulgent hype videos, the man is 4-22 against top 10 teams. 4-22. That's pretty good if you're the French military. Every year the Nittany Lions show up with championship resources and gas station coffee results. Franklin's making $8 million a year to turn five-star recruits into media punching bags. You'd think a program with that much money could buy a competent red zone offense, or at least a GPS to find the end zone. Then came last week's loss to Big Ten misfit and winless UCLA. A performance so embarrassing, it got them a fruit basket from the New York Jets. The last time Penn State led a national ranking, Joe Paterno was still looking the other way. At this point, Penn State football is like a trust fund kid who keeps getting more allowance after blowing daddy's fortune on the newest crypto. And the center of it all is James Franklin, a man who struts like Saban, talks like he's auditioning for a student theater production of Oscar Wilde's The Importance of Being Overrated, and coaches like he's crowdsourcing decisions from LinkedIn. At this point, Penn State fans don't need a whiteout, they need a blackout to forget what they've just watched.
It's another Saturday special where Penn State forgets how to play football once the first quarter ends. James Franklin might be the only coach in America who can have five-star athletes and still make them look like they're playing intramural flag football. I swear this man game plans like he's playing Madden on simulation mode, but with the controller unplugged. This wasn't a loss. It was a crime scene. Northwestern didn't just win. They walked into Beaver Stadium, took Franklin's clipboard, stole his lunch money, and still had time to eat it in front of him. Real quick, if you're rocking with the channel, do me one quick favor. Hit that subscribe button and join the movement. Here at Sports Impact Media, we're dropping the hottest takes, the funniest roasts, and the realest breakdowns in sports and culture. So don't just watch, be part of the family. Click subscribe, turn on that bell so you never miss when we cook somebody up, and let's keep building this thing together. The Wildcats were supposed to be a warm-up game, a little tune-up before the Big Ten stretch. Instead, Penn State looked like the team from Remember the Titans before the montage kicked in. Every time Franklin tried to get cute with play calling, Northwestern just said, "Cool story, bro," and blitzed the quarterback like they were late for class. At this point, Penn State fans don't even get mad anymore. They just start Googling buyout clause for James Franklin before halftime. Franklin's favorite trick, making hope look stupid. Have you ever noticed how every season starts the same? Franklin gets a big win early, maybe blows out a cupcake team. Then the media starts saying, "Watch out for Penn State this year." And then boom, October hits and Franklin turns back into a pumpkin. Man treats momentum like a rental car, drives it hard for a week, crashes it, and walks away smiling. Every press conference is the same too. We've just got to execute better. Brother, you've been saying that since Obama was in office. At some point, maybe it's you who needs to execute better. And don't get me started on the clock management. Every time Franklin starts managing the clock, I start working on my blood pressure. This man will be down 10 with 2 minutes left, and he's still calling halfback dives like the game's tied. If timeouts were money, Franklin would have filed for bankruptcy by halftime. How do you burn a timeout before a 3rd and 3 play call? How do you look that confused with a decade of experience? He's been coaching at Penn State for 10 years, but it feels like the offense is still trying to learn cursive. Penn State's problem: all talk, no trophy. Penn State keeps getting hyped up as a national contender, but every year it's the same story. Big talk, flashy recruiting videos, and then by mid-season, they're fighting for third place in their own conference. You can't claim we're closing the gap with Michigan and Ohio State when you're out here losing to Northwestern like it's a pop quiz you forgot to study for. James Franklin keeps telling the media he's building something special. Yeah, a house of cards. And every time they play a real team, a light breeze from the Big Ten West knocks it down. Maybe it's time to pack it up. You know it isn't good when even Penn State fans are starting to miss Joe Paterno's clock management. That's how deep in the mud this has gotten. If Franklin's not on the hot seat after this one, the chair's broken. He's running out of excuses, out of slogans, and out of fans willing to believe this is the year. Because guess what? It's never the year. Maybe he should consider switching conferences, maybe to the MAC, or better yet, join Northwestern's coaching staff and see what winning feels like for once. James Franklin is the Big Ten's best magician, not because he pulls wins out of thin air, but because he makes talent disappear every Saturday. Penn State doesn't need new uniforms, a new stadium, or new hype videos. They need a new coach. Someone who can turn all that potential into performance. Because right now, Franklin's playbook looks more like a post-it note that says, hope for the best. Until then, the only thing consistent about Penn State football is how fast they can break their fans' hearts.